Hello friends, it's Terry with Terry's Mailbox, and today I'm presenting for the Funky Junkie Boutique. We have a challenge going on. It's industrial grunge, so the idea was to get out gears and metal parts, etc., to create a manly type card. I used the idea to create an etc. tag. So again, here is my etc. tag. And so I use the gears die. And this observation stamp set from Stampers Anonymous. I like that gear border on there is kind of where I started with my idea for the card. So I took some silver cardstock. This is the double-sided craft and silver. I also did copper, and I scratched up the top of it and then used that to cut out the different gears, etc. In the end, I used the copper pieces on my etc. tag, but again, I just wanted to show you how you could create these things. So I started with the pieces. This is a 12 by 12 piece of Tim Holtz cardstock. It's from an older set from my stash. Again, as I have readily admitted, I am an addict and I have all kinds of older pieces and things in my stash. So I cut out the tag around that car up there because I kind of wanted that at the front. So I pulled out my tonic trimmer and trimmed down the piece of cardstock so that it was the size of the tag. So kind of working on cutting it out here. And then going to cut those corners. Sorry I'm off screen again. So there I have the base tag. And so I'm going to crumple it up. I wanted it to look vintage, old, messy. So again, I kind of, crumpled it up and uncrumpled it. And I think I threw some water on there to try to get it to break some of the fibers. So again, here I am just kind of straightening it out. And again, if the edges tore a little bit, I wasn't too worried about it. So here I am crumpling it up again. Wow. Okay, I got all kinds of wrinkles and tears on this thing now. And so then I took it into my craft sewing machine and I took brown thread and stitched all the way around the outside in both a zigzag and a straight stitch, about 1/4 of an inch from the edge. And then I'm going to leave those strings hanging off the edge of it. I took my vintage photo distress ink and I rubbed it on the top and rubbed it around the outside. And again, just kind of checking to see how it's going to go on my tag. It is a little bit small, probably because of the crumpling, etc. But again, I think it'll be just fine. So I pulled out collage medium, and I'm more concerned about attaching the center of the tag. In other words, between the stitched edges is really what I want to be sure gets adhered to that etc. tag. Because I am going to just kind of push the edges up and tear them a little bit and make them look a little bit rugged. So again, I'm just pushing the paper down onto the collage medium to make sure that I get a good seal there. Okay, so when it was completely dry, I pulled out that gears from the observation and I stamped it in using a embossing powder that I had that's kind of got some blue and copper flecks to it. And so now I'm taking that piece of copper corner gears and I'm going to go ahead and attach that to the bottom right corner of the tag. So I'm just adding glue in all the different places here. And I did double it up so it's a little bit thicker. So that's what you see me doing here. And again, my poor craft mat has been through a lot. I think I probably need to replace it at some point. You can see I've got curled edges. I actually cut into it the other day. Oh boy. So anyway, back to gluing. So again, I'm using my needle-nosed glue bottle and just adding glue, and then I'll glue it in the lower right hand portion of that tag. And again, I apologize for being off screen. And you can see where I stamped and embossed the gears there. So I started playing with some of my other Stampers Anonymous stamps. I used Professor 373, Ladies and Gentlemen 268, and just kind of pulled out some of the different images. And I went ahead and stamped those using Faded Jean's Distress ink. So again, you can see I'm just kind of stamping some of the odd little images around on the spaces there. And I know I'm going to be putting the large head from Observations in the center of this. But still, I'm just kind of stamping in different places. And there is where I'm going to place the I don't know whether he's a detective or I don't know, but anyway, the gentleman's picture, that's where I'm going to put that. And then I wanted to pull one of the sentiments, so I'm using the one about the dreamer. And I'll be doing that. So again, I stamped his head in archival ink. And it's the Faded Jeans archival ink. And then I used a little bit of Victorian Velvet to add the color to his cheeks. So again, here is that stamp, and I ended up stamping it on a Biggs planks that I had that was done with wood. So again, I fussy cut the gentleman out so that I could then attach him. And he's actually got an extra layer underneath him that you don't see, but I did a couple of layers underneath. Again, you know, I like to add dimension to these kinds of things. So still just kind of making sure that I get them pressed down. And again, that collage medium really helps in that squirt bottle to get down to the little tiny pieces. So now I'm taking more of those copper gears and I'm just going to add those around. A few of those kind of in the opposite corner. So I like the way these turned out. The gears were kind of fun to make. And you can't really see it, but they are, you know, they are kind of scratched up and look well worn. So again, I think this would be a really cool design for, you know, for the men in your life to make a card with. So I think it works out really well. Now I ended up going back and stamping the sentiment with that same embossing powder from the gears. And again, I added an ideology monocle on the top. So again, it's Terry with Terry's Mailbox. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Blogger. Come follow me.